Merry generic winter holiday, everyone. Have you ever sat and wondered, hey, I wonder what Nathan's favorite Christmas movies are? Well, you're in luck. Because it's the holiday season, I've decided to count down my top 5 favorite Christmas movies. Now, before we get started, there were some ground rules that I used when making this list that I just wanted to explain quickly right now. Number 1, the movie has to be about Christmas, not just set at Christmas. So that means no Die Hard, no Gremlins, or any assorted Shane Black movies. Number 2, it has to be a movie. We're not talking about TV specials at all. So as much as I love A Charlie Brown Christmas and Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, they're not going to be featured on my list. With that stuff out of the way, I just have a couple honorable mentions to talk about, and then we're going to get into the list. Starting off in my honorable mentions is the movie from 1941, Miracle on 34th Street. It's the story of a man who's claiming to be Santa, but nobody believes him, so he gets institutionalized, and then a young lawyer comes in, and he's like, hey, I'm going to defend you. I think you might be Santa. And they go to court, and he defends that he is the real Santa. If you're wondering why that maybe sounds familiar, it might be because there was a remake in 1994, or maybe because you've seen it. Some people prefer the remake over the old one, but I'm a classics person myself. The next honorable mention is interesting because, depending on where you look, the movie has a different title. Some places just call it Scrooge, others call it A Christmas Carol. In any case, this version of A Christmas Carol was released in 1951, and it stars Alastair Sim as Ebenezer Scrooge. And it's terrifying. If you're looking for something to scare your kids straight so that they behave during the Christmas vacation, sit them down with this movie. One more quick mention is The Holiday Inn from 1941. It's not really a Christmas movie. It's about a hotel that's only open during holidays of the year, so it kind of goes through all the holidays, but Christmas is one of them, and it's a musical. Alright, all that stuff is out of the way, let's get into the actual list. Number 5 on my list is a movie that most people probably have a lot higher on their Christmas lists, and that's It's a Wonderful Life. Originally released in 1946 and starring Jimmy Stewart, it's the story about a depressed family man who is visited by an angel, and the angel shows him what the world would be like if he had never been born, and it teaches him the value of his life and the values of other lives, and how all of our lives interconnect and affect each other. It definitely has a lot of similarities and themes to A Christmas Carol, which is totally fine, but it is more of like a serious drama, and in my Christmas movies, I want a little more fun and happiness injected into them, which you're gonna see from the rest of my list. Number 4 is probably the silliest of the movies on the list, and that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's just a lot of fun. You see Uncle Eddie and all the other Griswolds are getting together for their Christmas misadventures. From the disaster of their turkey to them going tobogganing to all of the lights on their house, it's just a lot of fun and very entertaining to watch. Number 3 on my list stays true to the grand Hollywood tradition of taking a great movie and creating several subpar, unnecessary sequels to it, and that is Home Alone. Released in 1990, it's the story of young Kevin McAllister, and he has to defend his home from a couple of bandits on Christmas Eve, because the rest of his family is on vacation in Paris, and even though they thought they brought him along, he was left home alone. So while the rest of his family is on vacation in Paris, Kevin basically turns their house into a giant death trap. If you haven't seen this movie, I definitely recommend going to check it out. It's hilarious, it's heartfelt, it's worth the watch. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Number 2 on my list is a movie that even if you haven't seen, you've probably at least heard of it or heard of different parts of it, and that's 1983's A Christmas Story. This movie is a classic in every sense of the word, and I watch it every single year. It takes place in the 1940s, and it's about a little boy, Ralphie, who really wants a BB gun, and he does everything in his power to make sure that that BB gun is waiting for him under the tree on Christmas morning. But aside from that main storyline, there's a ton of little side storylines and little anecdotes throughout the movie. It's narrated by his older self, so he's telling the story of when he was a child in the 1940s and all the things that happened to him, and it's just hilarious. Have you ever seen this before? The leg lamp? Yeah, it's from this movie. It's a major award. So here we are. We started at number 5, made it down to number 2, and now we're here at number 1, my absolute all-time favorite Christmas movie. I kept going back and forth between this one and A Christmas Story, but eventually this one won out in the end. And it is the classic from 1992, A Muppet Christmas Carol. Anyone who knows me well knows that I have a deep respect and love for the work of Jim Henson. And even though this movie was made after his death in 1990, it still has the same love and care and imagination that his other films do. It stars Michael Caine as Ebenezer Scrooge and features many of the other Muppets as members of the cast. You got Kermit as Bob Cratchit, you have Sam the Eagle as Ebenezer's old school teacher, and my favorite, the great Gonzo, as Charles Dickens himself. So there you have it, my top 5 Christmas movies. I know the holiday season can get pretty hectic, but hopefully you have enough time to watch some or even all of these movies. And be sure to let me know in the comments below what is your favorite Christmas movie. As always, thank you for watching my video, I appreciate it. You can give me a subscription if you haven't done so already, and if you have nothing else to do, go watch more Christmas movies.